So, okay, we are live. Okay, hello everyone. Good evening and welcome to the Decoding Real Politic. I am Apurva Sen and we are back with another interesting discussions. In this live discussions, we will be discussing on the topic India's relations with the world, significance of strategic alliance. So before we start the discussion, I just try to give you a brief background of today's discussion. Right. So, as we all know, there is no permanent friend or foe in international politics. However, national security and national interest are permanent for any sovereign state. Whenever security becomes a subject in international politics, it invokes realist theory, where power politics is closely linked to national security. Realism, as a theory of international relations, emphasizes that nations seeks to strengthen their power compared to other states. This theory asserts that power is the ultimate certainty in global politics. A powerful state relying on military force will always dominate its weaker adversaries. According to Hans J. Morgenthau, there is a continuous struggle for power among nations. The structure of the international relation is anarchical as there is no central authority. In such a case, the state's survival is the most crucial task. As a result, states are making strategic alliances for security and also to expand their power and influence over others. For example, NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, during the Cold War period was a military alliance led by USA. So, in these discussions, today's discussions, we have with us Rahul Sharma, Amon Sherpa, Raja Lohar, and I myself will try to explore some of the important aspects of the strategic alliance. For example, how it is important, how it benefits states, and how India has been carefully shaped its strategic alliance with various powers over the years. So, okay, friends, now the floor is yours. Whoever wants to go first, you may proceed with the discussions. Thank you. So I think Aman, you would like to go first? Go ahead.
Thank you. Am I audible? Okay. Okay, then uh, आज का जो टॉपिक है like significance of strategic alliance, like it has some historical bearings and significance of this term. Like we cannot get rid of this term like strategic alliance, because whenever two countries or any form of organizations country, say for example, even in our personal life, in our daily life, any two persons or any community comes into confrontation, then there is naturally there becomes a need of alliance. Now why there is new need of alliances, like for example, for a single country to achieve some goals like political objectives, some goals that country has set. In this modern time, it is nearly impossible for a single country to achieve, because like the country old, the world, the global politics is interconnected, right? Nothing happens in the isolations at all. So strategic alliance, these are the natural need of a state when they engage in this international arena. Like it is visible during Indo-Pak War, Israel Gaza war, Ukraine Russia war, or say or say let's go back to ancient times. Ancient times, medieval times, during a time of kings, empires. So alliance was very necessary for any empire to survive, and in today's context, it is very necessary for a country to put forward its or to achieve its political objectives, right? And uh, let's talk about India for India, because today's topic is basically about India. What is the significance of India's strategic alliance? So, the major question in today's time, or like major question today, is who are India's alliance at first, right? Who can India basically call their alliance? One thing, and there is this hot debate on this, like who can India typically rely on? For example, Russia, US. Now these two are now this Russia, US, China. Now these are these traditional big powers, right? Now in China, now they are now right now China they are displaying their power and they are coming close to becoming a superpower. But it is unlikely to say like in China is India's ally, right? And talk about US. Can India call US its ally in its truest sense? Or let's get rid of this term truest sense. Like there is nothing like truest sense. Like does the political objectives of India collide with US? For example, in terms of terrorism, yes. The US is against terrorism, India is against terrorism, or the West is against terrorism. And in this respect, or in this point, all the country, all Western countries like US, European Union, and other countries can be termed as India's strategic alliance. But in terms of trade and other aspect, can India call them as uh, a reliable strategic alliance? For example, uh, US, like for example, during Indo-Pak War, 1997, US has been backing US backed Pakistan, Islamabad, and in the surface, US seems to be too much into India, but there has been instance or this line that indicates US basically favors Pakistan over India, and right, these are the historical instances of where US is supporting Pakistan and not India, because during 1971 um, it was US from Diego Garcia, and US has a naval base there in Diego Garcia, asked India to withdraw from Bangladesh, otherwise they'll barricade this the Bay of Bengal. And fortunately, by the courtesy of Russia, India could counter this and say to Russia. Now, Russia has been traditionally been Indian Russia has a good relation, right, in terms of trade exchanges, in terms of weapons, supply of weapons. But see, recent events, like I was reading 2 days ago, I guess there has been Beijing. Xi Jinping went to Russia. Right now, there is this Russia-China pact going on between Xi Jinping and Russia, and China are clearly favoring Pakistan in this Indo-Pakistan conflict. So these are the complexities, right? Complexities of alliances. What is the nature of alliances? And for example, what is the nature of alliances? And like in what aspect India can rely or call or rely on the other states, right? So these questions we'll try to address here as we progress.
Yes, Raja, what is your opening insights or remarks for today's discussion? Raja, can you hear me? Hello? Hello, Raja? ओके, आई थिंक राजा का नेटवर्क ठीक नहीं होगा. सो राहुल शर्मा.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are audible. Please.
Yeah, thank you so much, Apurva, for having me. And due to some this discrepancy, I'm unable to show this camera. So just give me excuse. And
It's okay.
about the today's topic, it's about the today's topic is very interesting. That's why I had joined you all because it's all topic itself convey the strategic alliance. And my topic your PhD where I'm focusing is also focusing on that particular, but my area is Indo-Pacific. Mainly I'm looking this critical defense technology over there, like how the this alliance formation vis-a-vis this critical defense technology uh, playing or deterring this important role as far as this power balance are concerned. Although that is a different part, but let's focus on today's this burning area, as like Amun Bhai also has dig up some key issues regarding the South Asia, like your who are the India's primary alliances and all. So my first point is that in international relations, if I'll take this realist stand, then there is no permanent friend or your alliances in this international world politics, right? If I'll go dig deep about this alliance formation, then someone can quote this Bernard Brody's statement that alliance formations is also based on some sort of principles or your objectives. So once these mutual principles or objectives pertaining from you this whatever means, whether it is a political, military, socials, once these objectives get end, then their alliances also gets changed. So my point is that alliance formations is dynamic concept, which is not a static one. It change as per the time, context, environment, and situations, right? So we can't say that India have one permanent friend or your enemy in that regard, right? Although we have this long-standing partnership with Russia or your other countries are there, but yes, we can't directly or equivocally say that only Russia or your others are like this. Anyway, that is a different segment. My point, which I'll be covering that in this in South Asia, there is uncertainties regarding this regarding from the perspective of strategy when we are talking about the strategy how to deal with this Indian Ocean region or this border security or your recent escalations between India and Pakistan. Or if you go over the series of case study from 2017 onwards till 2024, then you'll get lots of uncertainties that actually has been happening in this South Asian region, whether it is your Taliban, this changes in Afghanistan or your Sri Lanka or your this coup changes in Bangladesh or your Myanmar, right? So here, what India can do as far as these smaller countries are concerned, so that India can make a stability. This also we can relate with this strategic alliance formations in South Asia as far as India's national interest are being concerned. So that is my insights that I'll be discussing in today's discussion. And let's over to you. What's your observation?
I hope Raja is still facing some network issues. So whenever he will join, we listen to him. तो ठीक है, आगे हमें बात करना है इसके ऊपर कि आई थिंक I am correct, Aman. You made 2 points. One is nature of alliance, how this nature of alliance has been changed over the years, and whom India can rely, right? India किसके ऊपर like भरोसा कर सकता है. So in this issue, I just want to quote one particular book written by our foreign minister at Jaishankar, जिसमें उन्होंने एक बात किया था कि उन्होंने उसमें क्या किया था, रामायण को एज ए एनालॉजी यूज किया था. आई थिंक इंडिया वे में या फिर वाई भारत मैटर्स, इन दोनों में से किसी एक में, अभी एग्जैक्टली याद नहीं है। सो उसमें उन्होंने बोला था कि लुक, व्हेन इंडिया पार्टनरिंग विथ अदर कंट्रीज, बिकॉज क्योंकि हम यहाँ पे इंडिया की बात कर रहे हैं, सो इंडिया कभी भी ये यूज नहीं करता अलायंस। इंडिया इज ऑलवेज यूजिंग द वर्ड पार्टनरशिप्स, बिकॉज इंडिया डिड नॉट एवर बिलीव इन द वर्ड लाइक अलायंस। तो उन्होंने बोला था उस बुक में, जो ये था कि हमारा जो पार्टनरशिप है वो कैसे ओवर द इयर्स किसी के साथ भी, हमने जैसे 1971 की बात बोला, जब यूएस हमारे साथ नहीं था, सो हमारे साथ उस टाइम में यूएसएसआर था, क्योंकि यूएस उस वक्त अपने 7th नेवल फ्लीट शायद रवाना कर दिया था भारत के लिए, भारत को रोकने के लिए, सो दैट इंडिया could not have intervene in Bangladesh genocide, right? लेकिन समय के साथ जैसे जैसे बदला, लेकिन एक पर्टिकुलर फ्रेंड की बात मैंने सुना है, जो जयशंकर सर ने भी बोला था उसमें अपने बुक में, कि जैसे जितने भी चाहे समस्या आए थे लॉर्ड रामा को, लेकिन उनके साथ उनका लक्ष्मण जो थे वो एनी टाइम उनके साथ थे। आइदर ही वाज ए वेरी ग्रेट ट्रेवल और किसी भी टाइप का, लेकिन वो लक्ष्मण उनके साथ था। तो उसी एनालॉजी को यूज किया था जयशंकर ने, उनमें उन्होंने यूज किया था फ्रांस को, कि फ्रांस, जैसे तुमने बोला ना, किसके ऊपर, मतलब whom India can rely on और India can trust, तो ओवर द इयर्स चाहे किसी भी पीरियड में देखो, आइदर इन 1999 1998 न्यूक्लियर टेस्ट, या फिर किसी भी टाइम में, तो फ्रांस एक ऐसा कंट्री है जिन्होंने इंडिया का साथ हर बुरा अच्छा हर वक्त दिया है। तो देयरफॉर मुझे ये लगता है, और एक चीज है कि अलायंस कभी कभी क्या होता है ना, जैसे मैंने फर्स्ट में ही बोला था कि इन इंटरनेशनल पॉलिटिक्स देयर इज नो फ्रेंड एंड फो। समय के साथ चेंज होता है, एंड द सिचुएशंस एंड द सर्कमस्टेंसेस जैसे होता है, अकॉर्डिंगली अलायंस विल चेंज। बट हाँ, क्योंकि हमें हमारी नेशनल इंटरेस्ट और नेशनल सिक्योरिटी विल बी द परमानेंट ऑलवेज, तो उसके हिसाब से हमें देखना पड़ता है। और यही पे मैं बोलूंगा, सी राजा मोहन का एक बुक आया था 2012 में, समुद्र मंथन बोल के, राइवलरी बिटवीन इंडो चाइना इन द इंडियन ओशन। तो उसमें उन्होंने एक चैप्टर था, आई थिंक राहुल भी जानता है, तो उस चैप्टर में उन्होंने बोला था कि कृष्णस चॉइस बोल के एक चैप्टर में उसने बोलता है कि इंडिया को कौन सा अलायंस में जाना चाहिए, इन विच अलायंस इंडिया शुड अलाइन विथ। तो उसमें उन्होंने बोला था कि इंडिया को एक्चुअली, क्योंकि विथ द राइजिंग चाइना, जैसे कि इंडिया को एक क्रेडिबल थ्रेट महसूस हो रहा है, चाहे इंडो पैसिफिक में हो या फिर नॉर्दर्न हिमालयन बॉर्डर में हो। तो इसीलिए, क्योंकि हमारे साथ यूएस का विदाउट चाइना थ्रेट कोई और रीजन नहीं देखता है कि एकदम अलाइन हो लेगा। नेदर वी आर ए ट्रेडिशनल पार्टनर और ए आर्म सप्लायर ऑफ अस, ना यूएस हमारा आर्म सप्लायर था, ना किसी भी एंगल से। हाँ, वी आर नेचुरल पार्टनर, हम बोलते हैं किसमें, क्योंकि वी बोथ शेयर सम कॉमन वैल्यूज और कॉमन वैल्यू सिस्टम, फॉर एग्जाम्पल डेमोक्रेसी, सिविल राइट्स, ये सब हम शेयर करते हैं। बट अल्टीमेटली जो हमारा उनके साथ जो रिश्ता है वो कहीं ना कहीं ड्राइव इन होता है फ्रॉम द थ्रेट पोज्ड बाय चाइना। तो वही बात सिराज मोहन ने बोला था कि उस बुक में, जितना मुझे याद है, कि इंडिया को राइट अलायंस चूज करना चाहिए, विच सर्व योर इंटरेस्ट, विच कैन सर्व योर सिक्योरिटी इंटरेस्ट, आइदर इन द हिमालयन बॉर्डर और इन द मेरिटाइम स्पेस। तो मैं यहीं पे रोकूंगा, बाकी मैं अभी चाहूंगा कि राहुल एंड Aman, they can also go forward on this issue, natural alliance and whom India can trust, किसको trust कर सकते हैं। Aman, please unmute.
नहीं, ठीक है, आपने जो कहा था, लाइक इंडिया डजंट बिलीव इन अलायंसेस, मगर लाइक now times are such like India needs a strong alliance, right? India cannot talk about partnerships like short-term partnerships. We'll gain something from here, but we are not friends with them, or we'll gain a small portion from there. We are not friends with them. But see how times are going, how dynamic international politics is. See the now India needs to be either be stand strong in its foothold. That's I don't think that's possible right now, given the Indian circumstances, the amount of weaponry we have, amount of like economy we have. Like it is not possible right now. So what feasible is India to like choose a good alliance right now. Now move beyond partnerships and choose a good alliance. Because see, now if you are not, if you don't like be a part of any camp, right? So how can the members of those camp will come and help you? See, for example, in Indo-Pakistan war, now who are going to like help you? Yeah,
Just one intervention, Aman. You are talking about India should be a partner or be a part of any camp, either US camp or China camp. For example, if we say US
yes,
camp, here comes the Quad or other kind of like G7. These are the camps which are led by USA, right? And BRICS or SCO, these are the camps which led by Russia and uh, no, it is, I would rather call that China led camp, right? But India never ever believe in alliance system or camp. Why? Because there is a problem. What India, quote unquote, said that strategic autonomy or strategic independence, right? Look, we are not in a camp with US or with Russia. That's why during the during the war between Russia and Ukraine, we have that much of gut that we somehow uh, did not agree with US that what US said us that you are not supposed to buy Russian discounted oil, but we did it, but we bought it. How? Because we are not in a camp with US, but Europe can't do these things because Europe right now यूरोप और ऑल्सो वो भी निकल के आ रहा है यूएस से। तो कैंप में जाने का मतलब मेरा ऐसा मानना है कि कैंप में जब जाएंगे हम कहीं ना कहीं हमारी जो एक स्ट्रैटेजिक इंडिपेंडेंस है ना, हमारी फॉरेन पॉलिसी को मैनूवर करने का, वो फॉरेन पॉलिसी मैनूवरिंग का जो पावर है वो कहीं ना कहीं हमें लिमिट करना पड़ेगा। somehow we compromise our strategic autonomy, or you can call it strategic independence, whatever you call, but somehow you will compromise, or you have to compromise, or you have to you know to some portion तुम्हें छोड़ना पड़ेगा। क्यों? क्योंकि you are in a camp, for
like
example। okay, let's so
like आपने जो कहा था वो भी बात ठीक है, मगर देखिए if like India wants to be a global power, right? Like India aspires to be a global power. Once like India, like we are the world largest democracy in the world. Like we have that propensity, right, to flex in front of this world, in front of and the entire international actors. मगर मेरा बात ये है कि if you want to really be a global supergiant or want a permanent seat or come in par with those superpowers, US, China, France, Russia, want to come in par with. I don't think India with this strategic autonomy can do that. Now there are risks and reward, right? You cannot like हमेशा मुझे मुझे good side में ही रहना है, हमेशा मुझे profit में ही रहना है, ऐसे तो नहीं चलेगा. Like there will be pitfalls, there will be backlashes, but India needs to like stand in its ground to also face those adversities. और बात आई अलायंस की, it is very important for a country to be a superpower, to be alive, to be like to come in par with the superpowers. Without alliance, I don't think India is in anywhere in any position to challenge for it. फॉर एग्जाम्पल सी, जब IMF ने 1 बिलियन का पैकेज पाकिस्तान को देने की बात की थी, तब इट काइंड ऑफ एक्टेड लाइक डेटरेंस, लाइक वो IMF का 1 बिलियन पैकेज भी डेटरेंस प्रूव हो रहा था. बट टेक फॉर एग्जाम्पल, चाइना इज अ सुपर पावर. डिड US tariff did like trouble China? No, because they are prepared to take risk. Or strategic autonomy, yes, India is following strategic autonomy. It is in the highest. It is in the interest of India in South Asia. Strategic autonomy, it is for South Asia, but international arena mein, I don't think that's to India to achieve what India wants to. विदाउट अलायंस इंडिया कैन रियली डू दैट. हाँ ठीक है, हम साउथ एशिया में ही कंसोलिडेट करेंगे अपना पावर, देन इट इज ओके विद, आई एम ओके विद दैट, और इंडिया इज ओके विद दैट. मगर इंटरनेशनल अरीना में अगर इंडिया को US चाइना के पार में आना है और सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल में अपना वेटेज बढ़ाना है, तो आई थिंक अलायंस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. क्योंकि देखिए, व्हाट इफ चाइना को पाकिस्तान के 1 बिलियन का पैकेज दिया था IMF ने, वो बात किया था तब, दैट प्रूव टू बी अ डेटरेंस. राइट, सो इंडिया को लाइक इन साउथ एशिया, yes, strategic autonomy works, but in international arena, I don't think so. Strategic autonomy will do any good to India.
Raja, you would like to come here, Raja?
हेलो, आई एम ऑडिबल? मैं सुना दे रहा है?
Yes, Raja.
एक्चुअली नेटवर्क इशू के चलते तो मेरा कुछ सुन नहीं पड़ा, लेकिन जहाँ तक अमन का जो बातें था कि हाँ कि इंटरनेशनल रिलेशंस में ज़्यादातर जो स्ट्रेटेजिक ऑटोनॉमी काम नहीं करता है, पर मेरा थोड़ा सा अलग व्यू है, थोड़ा सा डिफरेंटली, कि आई बिलीव कि स्ट्रेटेजिक ऑटोनॉमी ही एक थोड़ा सा वेग टाइप का कॉन्सेप्ट हो गया है इंटरनेशनल रिलेशन में. ठीक है, कि व्हाट काइंड ऑफ ऑटोनॉमी यू वांट. क्योंकि हर दिन पॉलिटिकल सिनेरियो चेंज होता जा रहा है. वन डे वी सी दैट यूनाइटेड स्टेट हमारे साथ में है, बट देयर एक्शंस आर ऑलवेज विद अदर पार्टनर कंट्रीज टू. सो आई बिलीव दैट इंडिया किसी के कैंप में जाने की जगह इंडिपेंडेंट फॉरेन पॉलिसी फॉलो कर सकता है, क्योंकि जो अभी का जो इसका जो पॉलिसी है, जो कि इशू बेस्ड पॉलिसी है, उसका जो पॉलिसी है, बट आई थिंक इस इशू बेस्ड पॉलिसी के साथ साथ इंडिया के जो एक्शन है, पॉलिसी से थोड़ा और एक्टिव इन द नेचर देखना चाहिए. यानी कि ऐसा ना है कि इंडिया विल ऑलवेज गो फॉर लेवरेजिंग विद अदर स्मॉलर कंट्रीज और बिगर कंट्रीज. इंडिया शुड स्टैंड इटसेल्फ एज लाइक यू कैन से एक ऐसा कंट्री जो हु कैन बी डिसीजन मेकर, नॉट ऑलवेज अ डिसीजन लिसनर, और कोई हमेशा डिसीजन सुनता रहे. So I think in the era of alliances, India should make alliance with other countries, and where strategic autonomy should be there. But आज ये थोड़ा सा जो मेरा व्यू है यही है, but we'll discuss now.
Rahul?
Yeah, I was just observing your point and Amun's point. So, firstly, I want to add Amun's point. In South Asia, also this alliance formation doesn't work. The strategic autonomy, because there are lots of issues like a trust deficit among these South Asian countries as far as India is concerned, as emerging as a giant for them. Right? If you quote this Pratap Chattopadhyay, the current university professor, associate professor, then he already explained these things. And about Apurva's point, that is, we don't need alliance formation, or we can take an independent stance. Yes, to the some points I can consider, because if you analyze from the historical perspective, from the history to till now, also that yes, India had its own independent foreign policy, but yes, in present time also we need alliances, because as we all know that not even a single country is sufficient in themselves. For that, we need the alliance formation. But we have to take a very pragmatic approach as far as alliance formations are concerned. I will prefer rather alliance engagement or the collaborations, because alliance formation, it comes a very formal tone. So one can differentiate what is alliance, engagement, and collaboration. So engagement and collaborations, I would prefer, would be the better options as far as by taking the present scenario. That is my point to both of you. And about this, just I want to pick this Indo-Pacific issue. Like as we all are about aware, this Indo-Pacific is becoming a volatile theater of this geopolitics, right? Ranging from your this economic perspective to your this security as well as economy, right? So here also, if someone will go the alliance formations, whether it is your Quad or your AUKUS or your the military drills, then this all also has a very important role to play as far as this alliance formation are concerned. Not only that, my point is that where India stand over there, right? Like a middle power country like your India or your Australia, these countries has a bigger role to play. If someone will go with the this article written by this Don McGlagan, that is a neoclassical, generalizing the Indo-Pacific through the lens of this neoclassical realism, like how the domestic and this international structure, mainly the neoclassical realism, can approach defensive realist perspective. So he has this open up or your unfold these two perspective or your aspects through which one can generalize this alliance formation in this Indo-Pacific, like how the domestic policies of small countries that also are playing shaping this alliance formation in this Indo-Pacific. Network
Hello,
is not
Rahul.
that good. Hello, am I audible?
Now, yes, now audible.
My I'm working right now. I'm not in room, so that's why that is biggest problem. Anyway, whatever I had an insight, that is only I'm just giving you all. Just you all can go. I will just add my perspective or insights. You all can carry forward.
Okay, मुझे what I listen to Aman, Rahul, and Raja. Rahul said that whatever alliance, what kind of alliance you are talking about, alliance, engagement, or partnerships. Okay, let's stick on alliance. But my not question, just a clarification. When Aman, you are talking about alliance, so what kind of alliance? For example, there are alliance like treaty-based alliance. Some are understanding. For example, Quad. It is also the scholars from China or Russia. They are they are considered Quad as an alliance, or sometimes they also call it as a Asian NATO, right? Mini literal, right, Raja? सो यहाँ पे किसी भी टाइप का ट्रीटी नहीं है, अंडरस्टैंडिंग या फिर ट्रीटी है भी तो दे आर वेरी इन नॉन मिलिट्री इन नेचर, राइट? वो सब नॉन मिलिट्री इन नेचर है. तो अगर हमें ट्रीटी बेस्ड अलायंस की तुम बात करते हो, और हाँ, और मुझे और एक पॉइंट मैंने नोट किया दैट यू सेड कि इफ इंडिया consolidate its power or concentrate in South Asia, then India needs this strategic autonomy or strategic uh, independence. But I don't think इंडिया को साउथ एशिया में स्ट्रेटेजिक ऑटोनॉमी और स्ट्रेटेजिक इंडिपेंडेंस की क्यों जरूरत है? क्योंकि यहाँ पे तो हमारी जो स्ट्रेटेजिक ऑटोनॉमी है, स्ट्रेटेजिक ऑटोनॉमी क्या है? स्ट्रेटेजिक ऑटोनॉमी या फिर स्ट्रेटेजिक इंडिपेंडेंस, इट मींस दैट you could maneuver or you could take any decisions, any foreign policy decisions or any national interest decisions in your own. किसी भी मतलब हाँ, लेकिन ये बात भी प्रैग्मेटिकली देखा जाए तो इट इज नॉट पॉसिबल कि तुम्हारा तो किसी ना किसी का, जैसे अभी ट्रम्प साहब बार बार बोल रहे कि आई डिड इट, कि मैंने वो किया है, दोनों को मतलब सीज फायर कराया है. तो somehow there were some pressures from यूएसए और फ्रांस कहीं से कहीं ना, मतलब जितने भी हम बोले, देयर आर सम रिकमेंडेशन और प्रेशर्स की न्यूक्लियर हो दोनों, मतलब सीज फायर करो, तो प्रेशर तो रहता है। बट हाँ, जब हमारा ये स्ट्रेटेजिक ऑटोनॉमी या फिर स्ट्रेटेजिक इंडिपेंडेंस, स्पेशली द पोस्ट कॉलोनियल कंट्रीज, जिन लोगों ने भी पहले एज ए कॉलोनाइजर था, उन लोगों के लिए ये जो है ना स्ट्रेटेजिक ऑटोनॉमी या फिर स्ट्रेटेजिक इंडिपेंडेंस, ये बहुत ही ज्यादा एक बोल सकते हो कि प्यारा, या फिर बहुत ही ज्यादा, बहुत इसको माना जाता है, बिकॉज देयर इज अ हिस्टोरिकल रीजन, दैट इज द कोलोनाइजेशन। ठीक है, तो साउथ एशिया में तो जरूरत नहीं है। जैसे इफ यू रिमेंबर, जब जब बाइडेन एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन में क्या नाम था उनका फॉरेन सेक्रेटरी का, राजा कुछ नाम, जो भी ना, फॉरेन सेक्रेटरी नहीं एक्चुअली, हमारे इंडिया में जो उनका हाई कमिश्नर था यूएस का, उन्होंने क्या बोला था कि इन ए सिचुएशन लाइक वॉर, ये स्ट्रेटेजिक ऑटोनॉमी या फिर स्ट्रेटेजिक इंडिपेंडेंस ये सब नहीं होना चाहिए। बट फिर हमारा फॉरेन मिनिस्टर ने जवाब क्या दिया था कि तो फिर हमारा स्ट्रेटेजिक ऑटोनॉमी या फिर स्ट्रेटेजिक इंडिपेंडेंट फॉरेन पॉलिसी हम कब एक्सरसाइज करेंगे? वही तो टाइम है, दिस इज द टाइम देन यू कैन, जहां पे तुम्हें प्रेशर आ रहा है बड़े बिग पावर से, तब भी तुम अपना डिसीजन उनके इन्फ्लुएंस में आके नहीं ले पा रहे हो। आई मीन मैं वही ऑयल खरीदने की बात कर रहा हूँ, ऑयल जो भी रशियन ऑयल खरीदा है उसकी बात कर रहा हूँ, क्योंकि हमने नहीं सुना है। और एक चीज बोलूं, जस्ट रिमाइंड यू वन थिंग, दैट ये जो आज हमें यू नो so many of drones and fighter jets, they came to India and neutralized by our S-400 and Akash defense missile system. For take the example of S-400 missile, when 2018 ये डील चल रहा था, तब यूएस से बार बार ये बात आया कि इफ यू परचेस S-400 तो हमारा काटसा लगेगा तुम्हारे ऊपर। काटसा इट मीन्स अमेरिकन, क्या था, काउंटरिंग अमेरिका's adversaries through the sanctions, right? तो काटसा लगेगा। लेकिन बिकॉज वी आर ए स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनर विद यूएस ने हमारे ऊपर काटसा नहीं लगाया, लेकिन उनका नेटो अलायंस के ऊपर लगाया है, जैसे कि तुर्की है, उनके ऊपर काटसा लगाया था। तो अगर कैम्प में ट्रीटी बेस्ड अलायंस के साथ जाए यूएस के साथ, तो फिर तो कहीं ना कहीं हमें ये आज का डेट में जो हम S-400 खरीदा है वो नहीं होगा। हाँ, यू कैन से दैट, तो फिर हम उनका F-35 या फिर उनका जो क्या था, उनका एक मिसाइल डिफेंस सिस्टम है वो आएगा। बट वी आर ऑल्सो ए डेवलपिंग नेशंस राइट नाउ। हम उनका F-35 या फिर उनका जो मिलिट्री इक्विपमेंट है वो ज्यादा महंगा होता है, ज्यादा कॉस्टली होता है। सो हमें इफेक्टिव भी चाहिए और थोड़ा सा आई थिंक एफोर्डेबल भी चाहिए। तो S-400 का खरीदना आज के डेट में मुझे लगता है वो एक इंडिया का स्ट्रेटेजिक इंडिपेंडेंस पॉलिसी का ही आउटकम था। तो यही बोल के मैं यहाँ पे वाईफाई गया मंगा। अच्छा, तो आई जस्ट वांट टू आस्क और वुड लाइक टू कॉल राजा नाउ टू टेक फॉरवर्ड दिस डिस्कशंस। व्हाट इज योर
Okay, so Apurva,
yes, सुन
okay,
रहा हूँ
what your, so क्या क्या था कोई सवाल?
सवाल नहीं था। आई मीन यही जो इंडिया का जो पॉलिसी है ना अभी, स्ट्रेटेजिक ऑटोनॉमी या फिर स्ट्रेटेजिक इंडिपेंडेंस फॉरेन पॉलिसी में जो भी बोलो, क्योंकि जब हम स्ट्रेटेजिक अलायंस की बात करते हैं ना, तो स्ट्रेटेजिक अलायंस मतलब या तो तुम ट्रीटी बेस्ड अलायंस की बात कर रहे हो या फिर जस्ट ए अनरिटन अंडरस्टैंडिंग टाइप का ट्रीटी। कैसी टाइप की अलायंस में इंडिया को जाने से बेहतर होगा? फॉर एग्जांपल क्वाड का भी मेंबर है, लेकिन क्या लगता है कि जैसे अमन ने बोला कि हमें कहीं ना कहीं कुछ एक कैंप में शामिल हो जाना चाहिए टू एक्सर्ट आवर पावर, है ना? तो तुम्हारा क्या इनसाइट है, असेसमेंट है, अंडरस्टैंडिंग है?
अगर हम देखें इंडिया के फॉरेन पॉलिसी जितना भी रहा, स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप्स हो या अलायंसेस हो, इंडिया का हमेशा से स्ट्रेटेजिक कल्चर जो रहा है, जो स्टार्टिंग जो इंडिया का बेसिक फाउंडेशन जो बोल सकते हैं, नॉन अलाइनमेंट। सो इन दिस एरा ऑफ जब हम बात करते हैं तो अलायंसेस हमें क्यों दरकार है ना, क्यों जरूरत है अलायंसेस? सबसे पहला सवाल तो ये आना चाहिए कि व्हाई वी नीड अलायंस। ओके, अ कंट्री नीड अलायंस बिकॉज number of the region कि maybe what is the aim of India to become, like इंडिया का पहला aim क्या है, वर्ल्ड पावर, सुपर पावर और सुपर पावर। सो के सुपर पावर बनने के लिए कंट्री को एक अलायंस में जाना जरूरी है, वन ऑफ द इम्पोर्टेंट चीज। बट इंडिया का फॉरेन पॉलिसी अभी तक जो भी देखा गया है, जो इंडिया का फॉरेन पॉलिसी रहा है कि हमेशा इंडिया स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप की ओर गया है। स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप मीन्स जहां से जितना ज्यादा हो सके डिफेंस पार्टनरशिप्स हो, सोशल इकोनॉमिक पार्टनरशिप्स हो, ज्यादा से ज्यादा बढ़ा सके। लेकिन अगर इंडिया का जो था कि सॉरी कि इंडिया ट्रीटी बेस जाना चाहिए कि नहीं, जैसे मैं अप्रूवल जो तुमने बोला, आपने जो बोला था कि दैट इफ इंडिया गोes फॉर अ ट्रीटी देन इट कैन आल्सो लीड टू अ इशू ऑफ like complicating relationship with the other countries, because which game India should go? Either India have to choose the Russian way, China partnerships, because Russia के साथ China है. So if you are going for that side, it means you are choosing the China, which always remain a we can say enemy nowadays. And the other side is the USA, जिसका relationship हमेशा इस प्रकार से रहा है कि we cannot fully trust them. There always been different, okay, their actions and policies are always different, their policy and actions are always justified by national interest. So in this era of things, I believe that choosing a side, किसी भी एक चूज साइड करना इंडिया के लिए एक बार टफ डिसीजन हो जाएगा, और ये काफी एक बोल सकते हैं काफी प्रॉब्लमेटिक हो सकता है। हाँ, जैसे आपको काप्सा का जो बात किया गया था कि हाँ, जहाँ रसिया रसिया को बैन लगाया गया था एंड फ्रॉम कासा एंड ऑल। सो इसमें देखा गया था इंडिया ने अपनी स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप और स्ट्रेटेजिक ऑटोनॉमी के डिसीजन के तहत किस प्रकार से इंडिया को वो बैन नहीं लग पाया, ठीक है, क्योंकि इंडिया ने यूएसए के साथ बात कर लिया था। सो इन दिस एरा मुझे लगता है कि हाँ, इंडिया ट्रीटी बेस्ड रिलेशन में इसलिए नहीं जाता चाहता है क्योंकि वो खुद को बाइंड नहीं करना चाहता है किसी भी पॉलिसीज एंड एक्शन से। One of the reason of this because of the independence they want in their policy and actions. You know, एस जयशंकर का फॉलन एक फेमस कोट होगा शायद, कुछ दिन पहले जब उनको पूछा गया था कि यूरोप प्रॉब्लम्स आर नॉट आवर प्रॉब्लम्स, ओके, everyone's problems should be their own problems. So if we are in the alliance, we have to decide like their problem is our problem, okay. But हाँ, इंटरनेशनल रिलेशन ऐसा काम नहीं करता है, alliance means that they will always come support to you. So in this era of these things, I believe India, खासकर India, it should continue to follow these issue-based partnerships. But इंडिया का फॉरेन पॉलिसी ऐसा रहा ना कि हमेशा से कि इंडिया हमेशा से लेवरेज देना चाहता है, जस्ट फॉर एग्जांपल स्मॉल कंट्रीज के लिए, जहां पर वो हमेशा से उनको लेवरेज दिया है, एड दिया है, एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा। बट हाल ही कुछ दिनों से हमने देखा है कि इंडिया के फॉरेन पॉलिसी में कुछ थोड़ा सा चेंजेस हुआ है। इंडिया नाउ मोर वी कैन से more counteractive. Just for example, the way India is responding to Maldives, the way recently हमने देखा कि किस प्रकार से जब तुर्की का पार्टनरशिप पाकिस्तान के साथ था, तो इंडिया ने कैसे इंडिया में एक सेंटीमेंट जागने लगा कि दे स्टार्टेड बैनिंग द प्रोडक्ट्स ऑफ द तुर्की। सो आई बिलीव, मुझे लगता है कि हाँ, so in this era of this in era of complexities of relationship, India cannot go for a camp. India should not be choose a camp. Rather, India should still continue to follow the strategic autonomy, but with more active, more pragmatic, and more realistic. That they should not always accept the whatever the other countries try to do. So further,
So if I correctly correctly heard that you are somehow you are talking about India's shifting foreign policy dynamics, what is called now multi-alignment policy, right? Before it is called non-alignment, now India is
बोलो
multi-alignment. It means multi-engagement policy, that we are with SCO, BRICS, and also with Quad or a guest, a क्या था ना उसको G7 का गेस्ट बुलाता है ना हर साल इंडिया को, even though India is not a member right now, but every year they call India as an observer, right? आई थिंक ऐसा ही कुछ। हाँ। So यहाँ पे I just want to know what Rahul think about it, that India's multi-alignment policy or multi-alignment strategy or a multi-engagement strategy, how do you examine it? Is it okay, or is it going forward, or is it going to help us to become a significant global power? Not I say superpower, because today it is not possible for any single country that become a superpower. Still, the American hegemony, or the just apart from the American naval bases, more than 800 or 700, I think 700, उसको छोड़ के बाकी तो जितने भी फ्रंट है, बाकी फ्रंट में आई थिंक चाइना इज नाउ चैलेंजिंग in economic sector, in manufacturing sector, in other sectors, but only one thing, that is military, because US is right now also, US is still a very far more formidable military power than any other country or state in this planet. But apart from the military, now China is also trying to or challenging US hegemony. So in this era I don't think कि कोई भी एक country super power मतलब बनना, मैं ये नहीं बोलूंगा कि मल्टीलेटरलिज्म आ जाएगा, बट हाँ एक देयर इज ए कोड, इफ यू आर नॉट टेबल यू शुड बी इन द मेनू, ऐसा कुछ मैंने शायद सुजन चीना सर ने बोला था एक बार, वो आईडीएसए का जो डायरेक्टर है, कि अगर तुम टेबल में नहीं हो एटलीस्ट मेनू में तो रहो, सो दैट योर वॉइस और योर पॉइंट ऑल्सो बी कंसिडर्ड। तो ऐसे मतलब इफ यू वांट टू become a significant global power, so the policy that India is now taking, that multi alignment or multi strategy or multi engagement policy, would it be helpful in future, or India should think other way? Rahul?
All right. Thank you so much. But I will go neither this multi alignment or your uni or bi alignment. But this I do believe that this particular era is an era of oligopolarity, where the few are important countries are playing a very important role, whether it is your US, Russia, China, or your France, or your some. So power has a different dimensions. If you'll go with, as you have said, that due to this power,
Rahul,
whether it is a military power, economic power, or social power. So power has a different dimension, and because of that power dimensions only, this world maybe countries they used to make a align with other countries. So in this oligopolarity world, I don't believe that India have to go with this uni alignment. Rather, can go and can choose this multi alignment, but based on this situation and context. Because here the dominance of
Rahul,
this.
excuse me.
Uh,
Hello. Rahul, for the viewers, I just want you to please explain this terminology oligopolarity, what it is actually, for the viewers understanding. Okay, sorry for the interruption.
Oligopolarity, yes. Oligopolarity is a concept where we can say that there are only the few countries in the world who are actually right now ruling, or you are dominated, or you're dominating, or you're showing their presence, right? So this is the oligopolarity term convey in this academic terminology, and relating this oligopolarity with this multi alignment, or your multipolar, or your this whatever your questions. So that is based on the situation and the context, right? So India can make a lie, or India can go with this bilateral, multilateral, or your this unilateral based on the situation and context. That is my sharp observation on this your question.
Okay, thank you. आई थिंक एमन का नेटवर्क गया होगा, सो दैट्स व्हाई एमन इज नॉट एबल हियर। तो हम इसमें और एक बात करना है, इसमें एक पॉइंट है जिसमें हमें थोड़ा सा बात करना होगा राजा। वो है कि अभी जो मतलब हम इंडो पैसिफिक में आते हैं, कि अभी जो इंडो पैसिफिक में, जैसे कि मतलब लास्ट टाइम हमारे डिपार्टमेंट में एक टीचर आए थे, प्रोफेसर आए थे, हाँ, तो उन्होंने बोला कि फर्स्ट यू शुड एक्सप्लेन और यू शुड identify why China is threat. China threat क्यों लगता है तुम्हें? Why you consider China is a threat? तो मैंने बोला yes sir, China is a threat because China is right now encircling us. There is a concept called in around 2006 2005, the string of pearls. China is building so many ports and under its ambitious project BRI उन्होंने ये किया है. तो who stop India? इंडिया को किसने मना किया? वो भी करें. मैंने बोला हाँ, इंडिया के पास अभी आई थिंक उतना इकोनॉमिक माइट नहीं है कि वो कर पाए, बट हाँ, इंडिया ऑल्सो डूइंग such collaborations or such things through partnerships with US or Japan, for example India Japan growth corridor in Africa. बट यहाँ पे उन्होंने मुझे ये बोला है कि ये बताओ कि लास्ट 100 years में या फिर लास्ट 50 years 70 years में how many countries were invaded by China and how many countries were invaded by USA. तो तब मैंने बोला हाँ, यूएसए ने बहुत सारा, चाहे इन द नेम ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी या फिर जो भी हो, किया है, बट चाइना ने जो भी है, चाइना ने आज के डेट में दिखा रहा है कि मैं कर सकता हूँ, मेरे पास है, बट इन प्रैक्टिकली अभी तक हमने नहीं देखा है कि किसी के साथ कुछ बड़े स्केल की लड़ाई में गया है. जस्ट असाइड दिस लद्दाख स्क्रीमिशेस और समटाइम इन with जापान सेनकाकू आइलैंड और इन ताइवान, राइट, उसको छोड़ के चाइना का ऐसा नहीं देखता है. तो उस स्टेटमेंट को तू कैसे देखता है? चाइना इज रियली ए थ्रेट फॉर अस और इट इज जस्ट ए वेस्टर्न क्रिएटेड या फिर वेस्टर्न काइंड ऑफ नैरेटिव विच आर सेलिंग इन दिस रीजन और पर्टिकुलरली इन इंडिया. तो इसमें क्योंकि if we consider China is a enemy or a threat for us, तब हमें I think what Aman said in just few minutes back कि हमें एक अलायंस में जाना है. If हमारे पास अगर कोई थ्रेट नहीं है as such, अगर चाइना को एज ए थ्रेट ना माने, so we can partnership with China, US, किसी के साथ भी. So why we should go for an alliance? And one thing is very important, I just want to clarify. बट अगर हमने अलायंस भी कर लिया, क्योंकि इंडिया तो टीटी बेस्ड अलायंस करेगा नहीं, एंड इफ यू आर नॉट इन ए टीटी बेस्ड अलायंस, सो इफ टुमारो वी हैव ए वॉर विद चाइना और एनी कंट्री, सो क्या लगता है कि कोई भी आके हमें डायरेक्ट मिलिट्री सपोर्ट या डायरेक्ट सपोर्ट करेंगे? आई डोंट थिंक सो. तो फिर व्हाट यू थिंक क्या होना चाहिए? हेलो राजा.
Whom you are asking question, Apurva? I'm not sure.
Let Rahul do the needful answer. I will do later. Okay.
Let Rahul come first, and then Raja will come later.
No. Raja will go first because if he having the expertise in that particular area, like China and all. So I would prefer to listen Raja first, then I'll give my observation. Will it be okay, Raja, for you? Hello.
राहुल बोलो ना, तुम पहले बोलो. I think both are having some network issues. Hello, Rahul. Hello, Rahul.
Yes, there
can
is
you hear
some
me?
network
Yes.
issue. Yeah. I'm here.
Okay.
I'm hearing you, but there is also network issue. That's why I'm unable to catch you guys properly. Anyway, that is your question. That is, China is really threat for India or not, right? So I do believe that
It is.
it's not. Sorry, China is not. China is really threat for India or not. That was your question, or what?
Yes. China is really a threat for us, or it is just a Western oriented or a Western designed kind of narrative which are selling in India or around the world.
So you can go with the statement of Ministry of External Affairs, right? He has clearly explained that in his one of his speech, this China is not actually the threat for India, but it's Western narratives that is actually really the threat for India. And this Western, this Europe problem is world's problem, but this Asia's problem is not the Europe's problem. That's something quotation was like that. So this Europe always used to see this Asia as this from their different approach. As far as your question's observation, that is by parting this, that China, exactly, it's not a threat from many perspective, but as far as your this security or your this border disputes are concerned, yes, these are the things that we need to amicably we need to sort it out, but that is unresolved issue, I do believe. So yes, research need to be done in that particular area, that what can be done. Is it deterrence can work, or your this back front strategy to China, that can work. So there I'm working, but I do believe that the real threat to India is not China, but real threat to India are the others. So that is my observation. Not direct threat from China. We do have, but yes, we have a threat from other sides that we need to look, right. Yes, there is some sort of this deterrence or you threat kind of perceptions we do have, and for that this both the countries are working, or both the countries are always in the positions of this backlash. So we have to take our strategy as far as your this forefront strategy or your back front, whether it is from your South China Sea or your this Indo-Pacific, like the formation of Quad or your the critical defense technology, right? Technological these aspects. Through that also we can deter. So this non-conventional deterrence approach would be better to maintain this not actually the balance, but regional stability and to secure the region. That is my observations. I'm not expert, but that is just my insights. Just I just wanted to hear Raja actually.
Raja.
Acha, Rahul, what are the points you were talking about? Hello?
Okay, the
Hello, hello.
points. Hello, Raja, can you
हाँ
hear
हाँ हाँ
me?
हाँ.
क्लियर है ना? हाँ,
Yeah,
points
yeah, yeah,
ये है
I'm
कि
hearing.
क्या China really a threat for India, or it is just a Western narrative which we subscribe, like India or in Asia, or it is, or because the formation of Quad or formation of Indo-Pacific, these are actually कहीं ना कहीं रशिया और चाइना यही बोलता है कि it is a just US or Western counterbalancing China or Russia's partnership in these regions. But
Okay.
क्या चाइना को एक थ्रेट मानते हो? मतलब क्या लगता है कि हाँ चाइना एक थ्रेट है, या फिर एक वेस्टर्न नैरेटिव है टू चेक और टू काउंटर बैलेंस चाइना?
ओके, एक बड़ा डिफिकल्ट आंसर भी बोल सकता है, थोड़ा वो भी है. बट इफ वी सी द हिस्ट्री ऑफ इंडिया बिफोर गोइंग टू दैट वेदर चाइना इज अ सीरियस थ्रेट और नॉट, generally we see the historical relation of India and China. If we see the historical relation of the China, we have seen that how China have betrayed us. No, in the form of the Hindi Chini Bhai Bhai, we have faced a war with them. So इंडिया का जो स्ट्रेटेजिक कल्चर जो रहा है, जो रिलेशन जा रहा है चाइना के साथ, वो काफी हद तक बिट्रेयल ने काफी हद तक शेप किया. उसके साथ साथ अगर हम जितने भी इवेंट देखे, मेजर इवेंट्स ऑफ द इंडिया रिलेशंस, तो तब तक हमने देखा है कि इंडिया वाज ऑलवेज अ फ्रेंडली कंट्री विद चाइना. वेदर अ परमानेंट सीट जो इंडिया को जो मिलने वाला था यूएन यूनाइटेड नेशन सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल में, इंडिया ने फेवर किया चाइना को ही. इंडिया इज ऑलवेज अ फेवरेबल कंट्री टू चाइना. बट it was the actions and the policy of China in the historical period that have shaped the India's opinion and the policy for things. Because it is not that the only the global narrative will shape the India's foreign policy. Okay. हाँ ये सच बात है कि यूएसए हैज लाइक एग्जैजरेटेड मैनी थिंग्स बहुत सी चीजों को उन्होंने बोला है खासकर जैसे अपूर्वा ने भी जो बोला कि हाँ उन लोग बहुत सारे इनसर्कल कर रहे जो स्ट्रिंग ऑफ पॉल्स जो थ्योरी है कि इनसर्कलिंग द इंडिया इन द इंडियन ओशन
Indian
बेसिकली
Ocean.
हाँ इन द इंडियन ओशन सो इन इनसर्कलिंग का जो हम अगर फेक देखने जाए अगर रियलिटी वेदर दे आर द रियलिटी अ चैलेंज टू इंडिया और नॉट वेदर दे आर इनसर्कलिंग द इंडिया इन रियल टर्म्स और नॉट तो हम देखेंगे क्या these construction, the Belt and Road Initiative that China has constructing, a number of the things that we need to understand. It is not that only the port of the thing that have been a problematic to India. A number of the things we have to see the Belt and Road Initiative different dimension. Just for example, I was reading some of the articles where I find out China is constructing the lots of Confucian institutions around the globe. They are shaping the policy and the actions of the peoples around the world. एंड प्लस देर ये भी देखा गया है कि चाइना से जो ये पोर्ट एक्सेट्रा जो है जितना भी है इज अ मेजर थ्रेट टू इंडिया बिकॉज देयर इज there is no clarity in the policy and the actions and the agreement that one particular country sign with the other country. Okay, क्योंकि second Belt and Road Initiative, China and India do. The major stakeholders or major workers or major officials or personnel are from the China only. So when there is no clarity of policy and actions, when there is no equilibrium, free actions, and other than that, that is the debt trade policy. That is something different also. So in the era of where the policy and actions are totally unclear, so it's very difficult that they are not friends. Other than this, India and China has also recently where that we have a border issue with them. How they have seen the Arunachal Pradesh. They're claiming that they're part of the Arunachal Pradesh themselves, their own. They even they, in their map they do not see them as their India's part. They claim this in their own map, the China's map. They have included Arunachal Pradesh parts as their own. Other than this, just for example, how the China have time by time has taken the side with India or not. Just for example, we have a conflict with the Pakistan. Just recent operation that is the Pahalgam attack. So whether China has supported India or the Pakistan, that is clear that they have supported the Pakistan. So they're clearly and openly showing that they are always been we can say in the opposite side of the Indias. So it is not that only the global narrative or the Western narrative that has shaped the China as enemy. It is the action and the policy of the China that have shaped the India's relation with the China as an enemy. But however, India is still having a economic cooperation with the China in number of the terms. India is still a trade relation with the China. But yeah, in the era of these things, it's very tough to term China as a friend to us. We should still cautious and pragmatic in relation with the China. We cannot trust them. That is what I have a take.
Okay.
My
So
one,
You are
I just
rightly,
want.
you are right.
Can I ask one question?
okay.
Rahul, sorry to interrupt that we are come at the end, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Till
yeah,
5. Okay, okay.
yeah, I'm aware about the
Very
time.
short,
Just I
huh?
just wanted to very
Very
short.
short.
If you want to ask a short question, you can ask.
Yes, yes. Just my observation that if we consider this China is not actually threat, like it's a deterrence, not actually a real threat. Then what would be your observation? Like if we'll go with this, you have already mentioned that India and China are coming up with many good platforms to counter this Western these things, mainly your soft power strategy. where both the China and India are coming together, like a climate issue or your de-dollarizations or your setting up the institutions of Chinese, like a Confucius institution in India as well as Indian counterpart to over there, right? Or your the sister connections, or your these. There are lots of things aspects that we have as far as both the sides from the soft power or your smart power perspectives are concerned. But encircling India from the perspective, like a string of Paul initiative, or you're taking the side of Pakistan. These are, if you will put from the prism of this deterrence, then can you see different perspective or your different image of this threat as far as threat perceptions are concerned? Not a
So can you
threat
explain
exactly, but
that is the
perceptions.
point? What do you mean by deterrence here?
Hmm?
Can you explain like what do you mean by deterrence here in the Indo-China relation?
Like
What are you terming the deterrence?
not exactly the threat, the audio things, but like only shadow of this war-like situations, but not exactly the war. Like किसी को डर दिखाना कि ना मेरे पास भी है ये भी है, because India and China both have the same policies, no first use policy. Then how both the country can go for indulge for a war? Exception is the 1962 war that we do believe, but right now both the countries have the from all the terms for an economy or a military perspective, both the countries no comparatively equal. But though asymmetric is just slightly different. But can you believe that a real war can happen? Apurva, this was just my observations. So from my side,
Okay, okay, okay.
everything is okay. And thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for having me here.
No, it's not end right now. Okay. Like your question is pretty much hypothetical, right? If India and China,
Yeah,
be a
hypothetical
good
only, because
friend, hypothetical,
if
right? If China
things
and
I will go with.
India be a friend, so what will be the geopolitical scenario, right? So, as Raja pointed out, that I believe that India and China, I don't think will be a friend in near future, at least. So I that's why I leave these questions because of time constraint, and we will discuss it personally, right? Because what I just at one or two point with Raja's remarks, what he said, that China is building so many and policy and actions. These are actually telling that how China is approaching what we can consider China is a friend or enemy. I just want to add one thing, that when you see that the ports, around 17 ports China is building around the Indian Ocean regions, from island countries to the African countries, Djibouti, wherever. In 2015 or 17, China, for the first time, China's have first overseas military base in Djibouti they have built, right? तो जो भी वो बनाते हैं पोर्ट, and they are dual use. For example, these are, they termed it as a economic port or economic use, but they can also convert it in a wartime situations. They can convert it into a military port, right? Military
Commercial and
facilities,
non-military.
commercial. Huh? And the second thing is, if you see the nature, or just one point, I conclude. If you see in 2016, there were two judgments from Court of Arbitration, The Hague, one in favor of Bangladesh and one in favor of Philippines. But India accepts the norms, the liberal democratic norms of the international law. But China reject this, and still China hold this island or this particular region under its control. But India respect the international law and liberal international order, and leave this region, or leave this island or some portion of the Bay of Bengal to बांग्लादेश, राइट? तो यहाँ से ये पता चलता है कि जब जो वेस्टर्न कंट्री या जो भी बोले कि चाइना इज नॉट रिस्पेक्टिंग द इंटरनेशनल लॉ और द लिबरल डेमोक्रेटिक नॉर्म्स, बट देन चाइनीज स्कॉलर एंड चाइना दे कॉल okay, we will accept it, but whose liberal order, who created this, and who will the owner of this liberal order, kahan se aaya ye? But लिबरल ऑर्डर या लिबरल इंटरनेशनल लॉ ये तो बनता ही है सभी देशों का सहमति से। तो जो इंटरनेशनल कोर्ट ऑफ आर्बिट्रेशन है उनका जो जजमेंट था उसको इंडिया ने माना है। यहाँ से एक चीज क्लियर होता है कि इंडिया समहाउ रिस्पेक्ट द इंटरनेशनल लॉ और इंटरनेशनल लिबरल ऑर्डर, बट चाइना इज नॉट। तो यही से पता चलता है कि उनका एक्शन या फिर उनका पॉलिसी इन फ्यूचर में कैसा रह सकता है। और एट दिस मोमेंट मुझे नहीं लगता कि चाइना वुड बी ए फ्रेंड इन नियर फ्यूचर विद इंडिया, एंड इंडिया को ऑलवेज कॉशियस रहना पड़ेगा। हाँ, आई एम नॉट फेवरिंग द ट्रीटी बेस्ड अलायंस विद यूएस टू काउंटर चाइना, बिकॉज इट इज नॉट गोइंग टू हैपन। क्योंकि अभी यूक्रेन को इतना दिन से हेल्प किया, अब ट्रम्प आया तो बोला यूक्रेन को कुछ हेल्प नहीं करेंगे, उल्टा धक्का मार के निकाल दिया उसको, क्या नाम है उनका प्राइम मिनिस्टर या प्रेसिडेंट व्लादिमीर जेलेंस्की, राइट। तो हमें ट्रीटी बेस्ड अलायंस,
क्योंकि जो ट्रीटी बेस्ड जितने भी अलायंसेस है, जो भी अलायंसेस का सबसे प्रॉब्लमेटिक होता है कि द गवर्नमेंट हु इज रूलिंग शुड बी योर फेवर। जहां गवर्नमेंट चेंज अलायंस चेंज, सो इट इज नॉट लॉन्ग लास्टिंग ऑप्शन। मेरा वो कहना, मैं जस्ट एड कर रहा था, कंटिन्यू।
जस्ट ओके हमें अभी स्टॉप करना है, ऐसे हम थोड़ा एक्सिट कर गए टाइम से, वी आर रनिंग बिहाइंड द टाइम। तो एक एक करके हम थोड़ा क्वेश्चन के ब्रीफ देंगे। हाँ, कोई एक जन ही एड्रेस करना। राहुल राजा, दोनों में से एक जन इसे एड्रेस करो। दैट राहुल बर्मन, उन्होंने ये पूछा है कि इज देयर एनी डिफरेंस बिटवीन अलायंस एंड स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप्स, इज देयर एनी डिफरेंस different context between South Asia strategic alliance and beyond South Asia? So Rahul wants to come. शर्मा जी, आप का क्या बोलना है इस क्वेश्चन में?
राजा ऑडिबल? हेलो,
हाँ, यस यू आर ऑडिबल राहुल। I think the question, you are able to see the question in the screen, Rahul Sharma?
No, yeah, network is issue, na, so that is the problem.
Okay, I read it.
Anyway, no, it's fine. Is there any difference between alliance and strategic partnership? Is there any different context between South Asian strategic alliance and beyond South Asia? So the question was raised by Rahul Burman. Anyway, alliance and partnership, right? So looking beyond this strategy, because strategy itself is a different term. So just I'll give you the clear distinction between alliance and partnership. So alliance looking to the holistic or inclusive approach, and partnership can be based on a certain approach or one particular aspect, or could be more than one. If there is any difference in the context between South Asia's strategic alliance and beyond South Asia? The second question seems very blurry for me. So if someone can give answers, then better. I'm not getting the question. Second question: is there any different context between South Asia's strategic alliance and beyond South Asia?
So basically, you want to say, I think, from my point of view, you want to say that if there is a difference of strategic partnerships or alliances in South Asia and beyond the South Asia, in the global world, is there a different kind of strategic alliances that have been happening?
Of course, there is a difference between the strategic alliance or your partnership in South Asia and beyond South Asia, right? It depends on the context or your the environment or your the country's particular country's objective. What kind of alliance country need, and what kind of this partnerships country wanted to go beyond. So, yeah,
I must say that South Asia is kind of we can say one of the South. We are seeing the South Asian paradox. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
South Asian country cannot be any kind of alliance right now. That they are having. Okay, the next question we can answer, I think. Strategic implication
What
of
is the
South Asia
strategic
through the lens
implication
of
of
India.
South Asia?
Strategic implication. So, Prabha, you want to say something to your dearest friend Rahul sir?
Strategic implication for South Asia, but in the context of India Pakistan recent conflict, strategic implication to whom? I mean, किसको strategic complication की बात कर रहे हैं हम लोग, इंडिया को या फिर इस पूरी रीजन में?
Yeah, question seems
मैं
very.
मैं यहाँ पे हाँ एक मैं उत्तर देना चाहूंगा यहाँ पे कि somehow अगर तुम ट्रम्प का स्टेटमेंट देखोगे तो उन्होंने बोला मैंने सीजफायर रोक दिया, उन्होंने बोला मैंने दोनों कंट्री से ट्रेड का बात किया, ट्रेड करूंगा, ये सब बोला, बट नेवर एंड एवर बिफोर जब पहलगाम अटैक हुआ था टेररिस्ट, उस टाइम में कंडेम किया था, उसके बाद ये ऑपरेशन सिंदूर या फिर ये लिमिटेड कॉन्फ्लिक्ट क्यों हुआ, इसका जो रीजन है उन्होंने इसको रिटेरेट नहीं किया, उल्टा उन्होंने एक ट्वीट किया जिसमें उन्होंने बोला I am happy to mediate in between India and Pakistan on the Kashmir dispute. तो इसमें मुझे ये लगता है कि इम्प्लीकेशन अगर देखा जाए स्ट्रेटेजिक इम्प्लीकेशन, तो कहीं ना कहीं इंडिया ने अपना जो अभी इंडिया भेजेगा अपने एमपीस को अलग अलग देशों में, मैंने 2 दिन में न्यूज देखा है, तो इंडिया का जो मेन पॉइंट था कि हमने टेररिज्म के खिलाफ हमने एक ऑपरेशन चलाया है, तो इस चीज को क्योंकि अब ट्रम्प तो राष्ट्रपति है ना, उनके वहां से नहीं आया है मैसेज, तो इससे पाकिस्तान जो इररेलेवेंट था वो थोड़ा सा रेलिवेंट हो गया इंटरनेशनल स्पेयर में, जिससे उनका जो स्ट्रैटेजिक इंपॉर्टेंस है वो थोड़ा सा मैं बोल सकता हूं कि इंपॉर्टेंट हो गया है। और पाकिस्तान का स्ट्रैटेजिक इंपॉर्टेंस बढ़ना यहाँ पे ये भी है कि आज नहीं तो कल जो यूएसए है वो ईरान को स्ट्राइक करेंगे या फिर ईरान में हमला करेंगे या फिर जंग शुरू करेंगे, तो उस टाइम में पाकिस्तान का एक दिमाग में ये मतलब यूएस का ये सोचता है कि तब हमें जब एयरबेस की जरूरत होगा, नियरेस्ट एयरबेस, तो हम कहीं ना कहीं पाकिस्तान का एयरबेस को यूज करेंगे। तो मुझे यहाँ से ये लगता है कि यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा स्ट्रैटेजिक रेलिवेंस थोड़ा सा यूएस इंडिया का तो है, ऑलरेडी है, अभी भी है, लेकिन थोड़ा सा कहीं ना कहीं कश्मीर इशू थोड़ा सा ऊपर आया है कि कश्मीर इज ए डिस्प्यूटेड स्टिल आफ्टर एब्रोगेशन ऑफ 370, और पाकिस्तान थोड़ा सा रेलिवेंट हो गया। तो मुझे बस इतना ही बोलना है जो मुझे समझ में आया फ्रॉम दिस क्वेश्चन। So, Rahul Sharma, next question. If you are able to see
I
in
wanted to add
the
this previous question. The implications, if we will observe, then observation also can be seen from the perspective like the dominance or the showing the presence of this the so-called great powers, like the China, the India, sorry, China and Russia also can be seen in this South Asian context. Apart from this Kashmir issue or the Pakistan. Anyway, picking this the question that is rising China poses a credible security threat to India in the Indo-Pacific region. However, India is not ready to join the US-led alliance defense group. So, how do you examine India's policy strategy? I don't know whoever is that. India, US-led defense alliance group. India have already many signatory of many foundational agreement ranging from this 2000 to 2020. For recent one that is the I don't know from this Komka, this Mua Limua Gatsa whatever is the Baker, right? So this from this all the
foundational
four
agreement.
Four foundational agreement beyond. Apart from that, four foundational agreement also in 2025 recent, I think January, I'm uh, 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 not getting in, but it comes from S anyway. So India, as far as the security concerns are concerned, India always used to be the part of this US-led alliance, whether it is your Quad or your other international sphere. So, rising China pose a credible security threat to India in Indo-Pacific region. Uh, Not directly, but from indirectly, yes, it can be threat to India in Indo-Pacific, but not from that perspective, not from directly. So, and this second question. So, how you examine India's policy strategy, right? So, to simplify your question, because your questions actually it can be a three different segment. Anyway, now I'm getting all the I'm just connecting the things. So, India and US, this alliance, defense alliance is actually prevalent. And as far as Indo-Pacific are concerned, yes, China's this billing regions presence over there we can observe. But India through deterrence strategy or this multilateral or quadrilateral alliances can deter, not exactly to stop the Chinese dominance, but can balance Chinese dominance or a presence in Indo-Pacific. And your questions that this Indo-Pacific or your China is threat to India in Indo-Pacific is not direct threat, maybe indirect threat from economic perspective or your other perspective. That can be deterrable. That can there can some works can already be can be done over there.
Okay, Raja, this is the questions from our team. One of our team member, right? He is not able to join to this lecture because of network issue. So through these comment sections, he asked some questions. So Raja, you would like to go? You should. In what ways have India's strategic partners assisted in the fight against terrorism? Raja, please unmute your mic, Raja.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. The question is very like whether should I say that in all over yeah, it is the recent one terrorist attacks, recent terrorism, or we should say that how the other countries have assisted. But basically, if we say that India, whether how the other strategic partners, just for example, USA, Russia, and all, how they have assisted. Basically, we have seen that their partnership are always been remain in the policy initiative. Okay, they have India and other countries have tried to formulate number of the we can say policy initiative and action-oriented programs and all, so which how to deter the fight again, like how to deter the such kind of attacks and all in coming ahead. But mm, but what ways? Basically, if I answer the particular the ways they have now, we have seen that they have basically do not say the about the military. Okay, they have basically chosen the way of policy and integrating the other countries, the cooperative approach, so which they can integrate the other countries in a policy framework. And just for example, India has now constructing or in the maritime domain awareness with the small little countries, so they to have a greater surveillance in the Indian Ocean region. So it is what that the partner countries have now started cooperating with the India in terms of policy actions and integrating the other countries and studying the different programs, awareness programs, and constructing the security of the Indian Ocean. I think it is partly answered.
Okay, thank you, Raja. Rahul Sharma, if you are able to see these questions, is India's defense not robust enough
Okay,
to act as a deterrent against China? Rahul,
quite interesting.
Rahul, please
About the-
make some
what were you saying?
remarks, Rahul. Okay, Raja, you can go.
You answer.
Is India's defense not robust enough to act as a deterrent against China? Partly yes, partly no, because if you because the sometime the bigger military, the bigger what actually Jazbat telling us, the bigger military, the bigger equipments and the smart equipments will not ultimately win the war. Sometimes your strategy, your or training or your morale is also very important. If you see, because अगर यही होता तो 1979 या समथिंग टाइम में दुनिया का एकलौता सुपर पावर को वियतनाम में हारना नहीं पड़ता. So from this point of view, मैं ये बोलूंगा कि it
Not
is
only
always that the
the two superpowers lost the wars in different places.
yes, यस हाँ बट यस आज के डेट में if you go to the global firepower index you see China's equipment military and things these are far more better or far more bigger than India but yes मैं फिर भी बोलूंगा कि इंडिया का नहीं मतलब किसी भी वॉर किसी भी कंट्री को डिटरेंस करने के लिए और सबसे बड़ा डिटरेंस तो यही है ना न्यूक्लियर डिटरेंस व्हाट वॉर
Yeah.
नहीं चलेगा ज्यादा दिन कितना चला पाकिस्तान के साथ सो वॉर विल नॉट लॉन्ग लास्टिंग ज्यादा दिन नहीं रन करेगा कुछ दिन के बाद अल्टीमेटली बिकॉज ये एक टेबू है कि न्यूक्लियर पावर कंट्रीज विल नॉट गो फॉर ए लॉन्ग वॉर बिकॉज इट इज अल्टीमेटली क्या करेगा क्रॉस द न्यूक्लियर थ्रेशोल्ड एंड न्यूक्लियर थ्रेशोल्ड शायद तुम लोगों ने सुना होगा Kirana Hills, nuclear leak. I don't know. I'm not taking the responsibility of the truthfulness of this news, but yes, अगर वो हुआ होगा तो ये मत सोचो कि इंडिया का भी ऐसा कोई इंटेंशन होगा कि हाँ हम तो उनका न्यूक्लियर फैसिलिटी को अटैक करेंगे नहीं बिकॉज ए सेंसिबल कंट्री और एनी कंट्री वुड नॉट डू सच काइंड ऑफ हीनियस क्राइम राइट जो यूएस ने किया है अब वो जो भी पाठ पढ़ाए लोगों को प्रीच करे कि ओ यू हैव ए गुड सेंस एंड दे are agreed to ceasefire. The country who actually dropped atom bombs in 1945, August 6 and August 9, उन्होंने ये बोलता है. तो चलो let's.
Okay. I want to add something here. I don't want to stress it, but I just want to say, like in America attacked the Japan, but now Japan is having a good relation with the USA. That is something the area we need to discuss in later time, like how the nuclear attacks lead even the good friendship. Okay, later on, next question.
Okay. Next question. Where is Rahul Sharma? Huh? Next question is India's defense posture not robust enough to act as a deterrent? Same question, I think. Defense posture not robust enough to act as a deterrent China. I just want to comment one thing that as per my knowledge goes कि अभी हमारे पास 3 या 2 बैटरी आया है S-400 का तो मुझे जितना मालूम है एक बैटरी तो उधर नॉर्दर्न बॉर्डर में है आई मीन चाइना की तरफ पोस्टर करके और एक बैटरी इधर है हमारा राजस्थान और पंजाब बॉर्डर में तो पोस्टरिंग सही जगह में है और यस हमारा कुछ राफेल इधर स्टेशन होता है अकॉर्डिंग टू मीडिया बट आई एम नॉट टेकिंग द रिस्पांसिबिलिटी अकॉर्डिंग टू मीडिया रिपोर्ट कुछ राफेल हमारा हाशिमारा स्टेशन में बेस्ड होता है और कुछ राफेल उधर क्या है अंबाला में स्टेशन रहता है तो पोस्टर इज और if you remember just 2 days back right ऑपरेशन एक्सरसाइज तीस्ता प्रहार मैंने स्टेटस भी डाला था वो किया है सिलीगुड़ी कॉरिडोर में तो वो क्यों कर रहे हैं बिकॉज somehow India is also preparing in the northern front also northern or eastern front also so that we prepare for any eventuality so तो मैं यही बोलूंगा कि रोबस्ट है नहीं है टाइम विल से जब हम वॉर में आएंगे अभी बताया ना कैसे उनका नूर खान बेस से लेके क्या क्या बड़े बड़े गड्ढा हो गया तो ये तो फिर जब तक तुम ट्रेनिंग कर रहे हो ओके बट द अल्टीमेट रियलिटी चेक विल बी ऑन द रियल बैटल ग्राउंड तो कॉम्बेटेंस में ही पता चलेगा सो ओके थैंक यू फॉर ऑल द व्यूअर्स है ना राजा तो राजा प्लीज कंक्लूड टुडेस by thanking all the speakers and the viewers.
A lot of thanks. Okay, thank you so much, Rahul, Purva, and also Aman. I think he's having some issues. So thank you for giving your times and all. That we will continue to और हम कंटिन्यू करेंगे इस शो को अच्छे से ताकि ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा अच्छा व्यू दे सके खासकर हम और भी चाहेंगे कि द व्यूअर्स who are seeing they can also suggest some of the topics what they want to listen from us and any kind of suggestion if they want to give us. Other than this, thank you so much for be presenting here and giving important perspective by our friends and also the questioners. Whatever the questioners we have received, the good insight or the good question that we have received. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll continue to do this lecture series, and thank you.
Okay, let's meet in the next Sunday. Thank you. Good night.
Yeah.